Woohoo! Welcome to episode 27. And let's just title this Back in the Game and Back to School. So, I am so excited to be here today. My name is Amberly Devers. I am the host of this show, the Christian Life Coach and Business Podcast, and I am so glad that you are here. If you are new around here, or if you are old around here, y'all, it is my 27th episode. And guess what? In the beginning, remember how I had a script and I thought it out so well, and I don't anymore. So listen, I am as concerned about what's about to come out of my mouth as you are. Just kidding. I have a little bit of a game plan. Well, not really. But I do have some things that I am going to share with you because I have been hearing not just from current clients, but also from those of you who have been wanting to start your life coaching business, and for those of you, colleagues included, who have a business as it is. And you have said, oh my goodness, the last couple episodes, uninspired and unmotivated and overwhelmed, were so helpful. Thank you so much for sharing those. And so I just want to let you know that here we are back in the game for episode 27. And I cannot wait to share with you some things that are going on behind the scenes. Additionally, if you are watching this podcast recording on YouTube, which if you didn't know, I don't really have a YouTube channel, but I'm in the process of multi-purposing, if you will, a lot of my content. So there are some things over there, and I will link that channel in the show notes for you. With that said, for the first time in like 9 or 10 months, I have a new virtual background. If you don't know or you don't remember, we are temporarily living in my mother-in-law's lake house. And it's so nice. It's such a pretty view outside, but my office is a closet. And so there's my clothes and there's Domo's clothes, and then things just keep adding in here, and it's just not a pretty scene. And then I do have a different wall, like a plain wall that I can use in the dining room, except the dogs. The dogs, when the children and the husband are not home, the dogs are a situation. Okay. Now, mind you, I didn't ask for either dog, but they have a tendency to whine and be high maintenance, and they want to go out and they want to come in. And so I just hide in this little cloffice, as I call it. And so I have a virtual background. One of my clients, and she wasn't even a client at the time, she was like, I am so thankful that you shared that with me. She was like, I do not have a space in my home that I really am happy about when it comes to Zoom calls. And now you have just enlightened my world. Literally go to Etsy. They're like $2.99. You upload them to Zoom. And this new one of mine, y'all, it's like, if you're not watching, it's a cute little, I don't even know what it is. It's like white, and it has a table, and it has an A on it. And my assistant, she found them for me, and I was like, did you see it had an A? I was so excited. Clearly, I sound very excited. Sorry about the hype. Heavenly days. So much hype. Not really. I'm just enjoying feeling productive. Speaking of productive, remember last week I was talking about the management of food? I want y'all to know on Tuesday, I browned 8 pounds of ground beef. I texted my assistant, Rayleigh, and I was like, and I've been plucking chickens. And she got really concerned. She was like, y'all have chickens at the lake? And I was like, well, by plucking, I really just mean I was like pulling apart a rotisserie chicken I got at Sam's for $4.99. Mind you, there's like this funny inside joke about rotisserie chickens now because my parents were in town, and, now that I've developed the shrimp allergy, which is super frustrating because I love shrimp, it was like one of my go-tos. Last summer, I became allergic. So my kids wanted shrimp. So she had gotten shrimp for everyone. And she's like, whoa, what about, and I thought they were joking. I was like, are you trying to kill me? What's going on? And she was like, oh my goodness, I forgot. Well, we'll just get a rotisserie chicken. I said, okay. Well, apparently there was like a line for rotisserie chickens, and I'm getting these texts like, we can't believe we're standing in line for a $4.99 rotisserie chicken. So then they leave and go to I don't know, Publix or Walmart or Ingles or somewhere to get a rotisserie chicken. So there's a point. Bear with me. I'm never even going to actually get to business today because I'm just, I don't know, chatty Cathy over here. Anyway, We go to Sam's, the girls and I, early Tuesday morning. I like upgraded to Sam's Plus so I could go at 8. But we went through the Dunkin' first and got some coffee because the moms and the daughters, they like to shop with the coffee. It's a thing. So we did that. Got there about 8:30. We had literally been in this store almost like 2 hours. Like we had to um they went and loaded like 3 grocery carts full into the van because I didn't know. I do like the shop through the store and scan it so I don't have to actually unload anything and pay. So we just pay as we go. Well, there's a limit when you're doing that through the app. So I was like, "Oh my goodness, we had to check out on the app." They unloaded everything and then they came back in, but I kind of saved, frozen and cold and produce and rotisserie chicken till the end just because it's over there because we were going to like drop off some friends and pick up some friends and all, or drop off some kids, pick up some friends, the whole deal. So I was like, let me be strategic because, we live in the country. So if your stuff's going to be in the car for a solid like 45 minutes to an hour, you got to be strategic. I'm so strategic these days. I'm so impressed with myself. But anyway, um, I get to the rotisserie chicken, y'all, and guess what? There's one left. One left. And so the next ones weren't going to be ready for 30 more minutes because I was like, oh, okay, how come? He's like, well, they went in frozen. So they need 30 more minutes. And I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I've been here all this time. All that to say, I wanted 3 or 4 chickens so I could, pluck them and freeze them because I am being Susie homemaker. Y'all know cooking and food prep and all the things. I say it's my weakness. I enjoy it after it's finished. I'm really good at planning, but the execution is not my strong suit. By like 4:30, I'm like, "Oh, wait, is it not time for us to all go to bed? Oh, you're just getting home and I have like the entire fourth quarter of the day left." Okay. So anyway, so I did do all of that and I felt like I'm talking I had every berry in the house was washed and prepped and guess what? Now all the fruit's gone. Not even kidding. It's been like barely 2 days. But I do have some stuff ready ahead of time. I did those meals I told you about that I listed out. I have been using that plan and so we shall see. I will probably keep you updated because I just feel like why shouldn't I? I'll try to. Anyway. All right. So, with that said, when we're talking about getting back in the game, and now I realize I'm only on day 3 of my kids being back at school. And I know not all of you listening have kids that are in school. And so you're like, well, how do I do this business with my kids are in school or not in school? I did that also. So, the excuses don't work for me, sissy. All right. So, here we go. Let's talk about getting back in the game when you are unmotivated, when you have felt uninspired, and when you are overwhelmed. Truly, last week I was coaching a client who she was one of the ones that was like, oh my goodness, those 2 podcasts have just been so helpful for me. She's like, that's where I am. And that is the benefit, honestly, of really and truly the types of business coaches that I choose to work with. But for you, as it relates to wanting a business coach as a Christian life coach is that I am a certified life coach. And what I, will shout from the rooftops till I'm blue in the face is that your life and your business will correlate. And what I mean by that is um, what you experience in life emotionally, you will experience in your business as well. And so sometimes you have a life issue that needs to be coached so that it's cleared up enough for your business to move forward. Sometimes you need a business issue coached so that your life is cleared up and able to move forward. And so I love that I'm able to coach in both ways. And I love that my clients that work with me and that hire me, as a member of the Christian Life Coach Academy have access to both. As a matter of fact, I have something really exciting that I'm announcing. Today, because you're listening today, I'm announcing this in the call today for my students. But, well, I guess if any of them listen to this in the next like 5 hours after it uploads, then they'll not be surprised. But I'm getting ready to implement. Oh, I don't have my piece of paper. I'm all about, it's so fun having a business. One of the fun parts about having a business and one of the challenging parts as it relates to commitment is picking names for things. Y'all, I have named 5 children. I have named my program. I've named the podcast. I have named concepts that I teach. We call that intellectual property, actually. These things will be trademarked. That's something I am going to probably be working on in quarter 1 for some of those things. But I was struggling with this thing, I'll call it this thing I'm getting ready to implement. I'm like, oh, what should I name it? I'm talking like I was like thesaurus.comming it with the adjectives that I was trying to come up with names for this. But one thing I'm about to start offering in the academy right now, we have one live group coaching call per week. You show up, you raise your hand, you get coached on life, you get coached on business, like truly wherever you are. We coach on it. And even people, the women who are not coached that day, like maybe they just don't have anything, or they're just not raising their hand, or kind of just sitting back and listening. It's like whoever does get coached, everybody gets coached. It's so fascinating. Oh my word, y'all. Guess what I did? This is actually being edited in. Okay. I said, Lainey, Rayleigh, oh my word, help me. Y'all, what happened was after I finished recording, I realized I never shared this new special thing that I'm about to add. Well, when I say about to add, I'm going to test it for the month of September and then I'll see. But so we're inserting this, edit it in. It is what it is behind the scenes. Now you know. Great. I'm not perfect after all. Kidding, kidding. Okay. So what I was saying about naming things that I wanted to get back to is that a couple of things that have come up to be coached on in the academy is coaching your actual clients. Now, I do not certify. I do not offer a certification. However, I am certified and I do believe in great coaching. The better coach you are, the better business you'll have. And so you're going to have things as you're learning and as you're practicing and as you're getting into coaching with clients that may come up. So while you can always just come into the Facebook group and be like, whoa, this went on with a client today. This is how the session went. Do you have any advice? What could I have done differently? Anything that comes up, that is definitely covered in the academy in terms of you can raise your hand to be coached on it during our live call, or you can ask about it in the Facebook group. But when I mentioned the idea of this, several students were like raising their hands. Okay, more than several. They were like, yes, this would be great. Oh my gosh, thank you. So I'm like, well, it has to have a clever name. And so I have a colleague that has a program that is just to enhance whatever skills you have as a coach. She doesn't certify, it's not in a specific method. She just helps you become a better coach. And so I was like, well, it can't be that name of that program. No, I'm not creating a program, but what I am going to test for the month of September is I'm going to offer a coach equipping call. So you can come to that call and ask any questions that you may have about some clients that you have or a client that you have, and tell me about a session and ask my advice or ask for some clarity, ask for some coaching on the way that you're holding space. And the reason why I'm doing this is I did have a client mention that when she's not coaching this particular client that she has, she's finding herself spending a lot of time thinking about this client. And that is something that when you should not be exhausted as a coach after a session, and you should not be spending hours outside of your sessions thinking about your client, figuring out, well, let me rephrase that. Of course, you're thinking about your client. Of course, you're thinking of ways to be a better coach, but not from a place of guilt and shame and beating yourself up and trying to prove yourself as a coach, because your client's results are based on her showing up, and they're based on her thoughts about you. You cannot control that. So we talk about holding space for your client and allowing that session to be all that she needs during that time together. So that while you're not working, because you are in fact working, when you're not coaching, you're present and engaged with your family or your next client. So just some skills and some equipping things like that I want to be able to provide for my students, for my clients, either in the Facebook group or on that call. So They don't know what's happening unless they listen to this before our session today. So if you're listening now, act surprised, please. But anyway, to make this editing merge situation, and I'll go more into details about coach equipping and how it goes, and if I continue it, I don't want to, but I am going to do that for the month of September and see how it goes and see ways that I can help you show up and serve your clients to the fullest by holding space, by answering questions you may have as you're growing as a coach, but also to help you be the best coach you are for your client and the best person you are for your family when you're not coaching, so that you're not merging the two together, because that is not a life or a business that is simple. And so you need to hold space for them, but also hold space for yourself to know that that 45-minute session or hour session or 30-minute session is exactly the way it was supposed to be. But you can do evaluations, and I recommend you do an evaluation. What went well on the coaching call? What maybe didn't go so well? And from what didn't go so well, just do it differently the next time. And I'll go into some of my own personal coaching experiences. There were times when I would be like, oh, you know what? I want to make sure that that wasn't misinterpreted, because we are humans. Okay, we are going to make mistakes. And so, yes, if you feel like that, something was off, definitely bring it to the group or bring it to a call and then go back to that client. And I've done that before. I've said, hey, I just want to make sure that when we were talking about X, Y, or Z, when I wasn't just coaching and maybe it was like mentoring or giving advice, which it's really just better if you just stick to coaching. Okay. We'll talk about that on these coach equipping calls as well. But I have, sent a message, or I had my client, one-on-one clients had Voxer access to me. So I would say, hey, I just wanted to make sure that I communicated clearly. And you know what, y'all? 10 out of 10 times I did. So sometimes it's just managing our own brains. Now, for the sake of this merge and edit and splicing or slicing or whatever these fancy techie people that are smarter than me do, um, I had then I had broken up the conversation when I was talking about the client who I was coaching, who was just really struggling with overwhelm and feeling uninspired and unmotivated, because she was really just processing the sadness and the grief of her oldest going back to college for the fourth and final time. And she actually coaches moms who are sending their kids off to college. So she's like, I feel like a total imposter. I'm like, so I coached her on that. And I'll share with you what I shared with her in case you're feeling that way, and who you coach, is that it's okay to take a break from your business and be a full human and process the sadness, because whatever it is that she's going to experience through the grief and just the sadness of being a mom, that's just sad, that your kid's going off to school. Because there may be a client who's like not sad that their kid's going off to school. And then you've got everybody you get to coach, and just allowing yourself the freedom to do so, because as she walks out the grief and just kind of the processing and the house goes back to a different way, when they go back, and it's just an adjustment. It's like you have the freedom and the permission to still be a human mom, and everything you learn during this time is going to be so helpful for how you show up and serve and coach your clients. Okay. I don't know what I'm about to say now, but I think this is the right spot to say, where I was just basically saying that none of us are special unicorns, and we're not exempt from the human emotional experience, because God gave those to us. And now, forewarning, I think I'm about to repeat, there are no special unicorns. So we'll try it and see. Because everybody, I mean, there are no special unicorns. I was sharing this with my daughter last night, who was sharing something that she was going through as it relates to some disappointment and something that she would quote unquote call a failure. And I said, hey, guess what? No one is exempt from failure. Your 44-year-old mother included, so and so included. Like, what you are experiencing emotionally, disappointment, sadness, embarrassment, let me turn off those notifications, a couple other things. I was like, those are just human emotions that the Lord has given us, and we all experience them on some level, just within different circumstances at all times. Like, I wish I could, exempt you from those emotions, but I cannot. And I said, and your ability to experience failure and disappointment and sadness and embarrassment, all of these things in life, starting now, is how well you will live your life, how well you will recover from certain emotional experiences. So I gave her 3 assignments today. Didn't know you were on a parenting podcast, did you? But if you want to use these are actual, like, I'm not making these things up. These aren't just for kids. These are strategies that I myself, well, one, I used a couple this morning and I'm going to share them with you. But when we, our kids or people we know, um, go down like what we would call like a negative emotional spiral, if you will. And I learned this through recovery actually, because I didn't have a place for my thoughts to go. And now that I am a coach, a life coach, and I have 2 different life coaching certification processes, techniques, models that I use on myself and with others and my children, and my husband. Sometimes he just doesn't know. And those things for someone who with an overactive brain like yours truly, those have saved my life. I'm like all of a sudden about to get emotional. I didn't even have a title for this podcast when I started, and now I'm crying. Okie doke. I'm gonna have to start scripting again. Just kidding. But anyway, so I needed a place for thoughts to go rather than like completely down the drain. And so one of the techniques that I used, and this is one that I shared with Annalie today, is that, for one, when you are experiencing emotions that we experience, and you don't just experience this in elementary, middle, high, college, single life, school. You experience this as adults too. Feeling excluded, feeling left out, feeling like you don't belong at times. And for females especially, that can, come in those 28-day waves, if you know what I mean. But how can we respond when we're not ready to just like feel happy? But we also are, like, okay, it's not real healthy to stay sad. And so what I told her was, I was like, I'm challenging you to do this today. And I was like, and actually, it's the type of challenge that if you don't do it, there's going to be a discipline when you get home, because my job is to disciple my children and help them with strategies to be like functioning adults and citizens. Okay. And so one of those is life coaching. And so I said, I want you to focus on 5 acts of kindness or 5 acts of service. Like literally saying that out loud. I'm like, this is not like a new concept, but being intentional about it. I was like, I don't care if it's a piece of trash that you would have typically just walked past and let somebody else pick up. I want you to have 5 things that you can tell me that you intentionally focused on, because see, we can't dwell on 2 things at a time. We're either dwelling on our sadness and our embarrassment and our disappointment and our exclusion and sadness, or we're dwelling on how can I serve someone else? How can I do something kind for another person or just for the space? Like nobody may know that you picked up trash, which I don't want them to know, but I'm just saying like some things are insignificant, but when you're focusing on it from a place of service unto the Lord, your mind will recover. It will be transformed. It will be renewed, and you will end up feeling better. Okay. And so I said, those are the things I want you to do. I said, additionally, and I'm about to share with myself when I say I'm back in the game, this is a technique that I use to kind of get back in the game. We coaches, we love to like sit in our feelings and feel our feelings and process our feelings, because that truly is how you move forward in life, and it's how you build a business. Because if you don't do it that way, if you resist emotions, you prolong your business. All right. And I've got some other things to say on that a different day. But this is where I shared with Annalie this strategy, and you're welcome to it too. But this morning I woke up and I just felt like, I'm like, where are my feelings today? Ray is always so like fascinated that I wake up with like a stinky brain. I'm like, well, I mean, like you got to brush your teeth, you got to floss your brain, you got to floss your thoughts, you got to clean them out. And so, yes, I do wake up this way and I have for years, but now I know a way to go about it. So I mean, maybe like 3% of my life or 3% of the year do I not wake up this way. I'll keep you posted. I haven't really done the stats on that, so I reserve the right to change my word on that. Anyway, I woke up and I felt worried. I felt sad. I felt disappointed. I felt exhausted. and I felt worthless. And now I'm looking back, however many hours later, I'm like, why did I feel that? Now I do have thoughts written out beside that. And sometimes, this is especially what I want you to know as a client of mine. And if you're not, I just want everybody to hear me say, sometimes you don't just jump. I call it your default thinking, which I have an episode on default thinking and deliberate thinking. Okay. This is a method that I teach, but my default thinking is to think, oh, it's going to be too long and too challenging. Oh, I wish we were already in the house. Oh, this schedule is too much. Oh, I'm wasteful with my time, right? Those thoughts can make me feel certain ways. And these are kind of surfacey, if you will. But you can have some other painful emotions, if you will, or negative emotions that you're walking through in life. And the next right step for you is not to bypass that and just to jump over into like positive emotions. We can use coaching against ourselves. What I recommend in moments like this is sometimes you just need to give your brain a break from coaching. I teach this in a strategy in the academy called deliberate mornings. I use them, I teach them. Okay. And so for today, when I wrote out those emotions, I didn't immediately go into creating deliberate thoughts to think. I actually paused for a moment because when you are seeing some of the same emotions coming up, sadness, disappointment, exhaustion, worry, worthlessness, some negative emotions that can lead to depression for people. And that's what we see over and over and over in society. We have to give our thoughts and our brains different things to think. Well, I guess you don't give your thoughts different things to think. You know what I mean? So I recommend writing a gratitude list. And so that was another assignment in air quotes I gave to Annalie. I was like, I want you to, I need a list of 50 things that you write out somewhere that you're grateful for. This is really, really helpful if you have a child. And this is not Annalie by any means, but this just came to mind because I was kind of that child that maybe kind of like when they're in those moments, you kind of pull back. It gives you something to do. It makes you look very busy. Like, I'm so sorry. Even if you were asking to hang out with me right now, I'm totally unavailable because I'm so busy and busy being happy and busy. Right. So you're just like writing a list of things. So I'm like, I want a list of 50 things that you are grateful for. And I was like, and if you don't have a list of 50 things you're grateful for by the end of the day, that means that you had a better day and that your thoughts were rising, if you will. How many times do I say, if you will? I wonder what that expression means for me in my language. Let me know if you figure it out. So, anyway, so before I did any deliberate thought modeling, I just had a list of things I was grateful for. And on that list, if you heard that pause, I literally thought, did I start recording? Oh my goodness, I might have cried. But I have in fact recorded. So, yay for me, winning today. Anyway, so I had this list of things I was grateful for, and I didn't even go into a deliberate thought model after that. A, because 15 different people kept coming into the room I was in with my coffee and my Bible and my journal. So I kind of didn't get to it, but I kind of didn't need to. I just wanted to like rest and sit in the gratitude, right? Like I'm grateful for a home to live in free of charge. I'm grateful for living on the lake and the view. I'm grateful for our community and biblical fellowship. I'm grateful for a husband who makes the kids breakfast and he takes them to school and he helps me not like get crazy. I mean, he doesn't do it every day, but I mean, when he like today he made breakfast and kind of did the whole kitchen scene and then I took everyone to school and sometimes we do it vice versa. Actually, even when he takes them to school, he does the breakfast scene. So super grateful for that. I'm grateful for healthy children. I'm grateful for more simplicity and less interaction with forced fake kindness. I'm grateful for the hope of Christ and the hope of heaven. I'm grateful for a full life and his strength to keep managing it well. I'm grateful to be in a place we call home. And I'm grateful for daily manna, no more or no less than what I need or that he provides. And so, from there, I guess I actually did move into a deliberate model. And those thoughts were I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Nothing has gone wrong. I have what it takes to continue doing what I'm doing. And so from there, I'm cleared up. I'm like, okay, what is the plan for today? I'm circling back to how I am getting back in the game and what it looks like to do so from the things I just shared with you. I want to make sure my husband knows I gave you some takeaways. Maybe if I didn't organize it well, but those were your takeaways. So go back and listen so you can implement these things into your life and business as well. But anyway, the top 3 for me today were a reel, which I just shared on Instagram. I ended up batching like 5 reels in about 45 minutes, which sounds like a long time. One, I did spend like way too long on it. I was like, why am I even doing this one? It was like almost ready, y'all, and I just deleted it. I was like, I don't like it anymore. So I have about 5 reels drafted, which is really nice because I haven't done any batching in a while. If you're not familiar with the term of batching, your content, it can be in various ways. You can batch reels, or you can batch just regular content and have like, 5 or 10 posts ready and saved to post when that time comes. And then the next thing on my list for today is to edit. I have an email series going out right now. You're probably like, yeah, I got like all 900 of them. Just kidding. People love my emails and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And honestly, like if you like my emails, I mean, I love helping you. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel. I was a teacher one time. And so we were just sharing ideas and bulletin boards and behavioral systems and cute ideas left and right. And so I do this. Be inspired by my emails. Take them and make them your own, okay? Um, and then I'm gonna work. Oh, I'm doing the podcast. That one was huge. I've been waiting until like Monday, and I'm like, oh, we never know what the day holds. Let me just go ahead and do that now. So the podcast, and then I'm going to work on my Monday email that goes out, and then I have some Facebook ads running right now, and I need to kind of make some adjustments to that. I need to look at the audience there. Like the conversion rate's gone down a little bit, which is still really, really high. I'm really, really grateful. I have high conversion rates with Facebook ads. And so it's still like 30% above industry standard, but I'm like, wait, why is it 30% below what it was? So I want to see if I can make some adjustments there and if that will change that. And so that's all. And that I have on my list, if you will, of the things I want to accomplish. So far, let me just check it off right now. I have done my reel, check, and I have done the podcast, check. So technically, these are really I do top 3 for the day, but I have 5 listed. So we shall see. Anyway, if you are finding yourself struggling to get back in the game, one thing, and I've shared this before, I think I shared it last week and the week before. If you've lost sight of your dreams, or if you have lost sight of stepping into your dream, I want you to take a step back and I want you to remember. I don't want to say like remember your why because I'm so sick of the why statement, but I do want you to think about the people that need the unique way that only you have been gifted to coach, right? I've been gifted to coach a certain way. You have been gifted to coach a certain way. And when you think about it, when you think about your business, when you think about creating a 6-figure life coaching business, I really want you to picture this. I really want you to kind of go into the places of your mind and the places of your heart that you have once experienced. Okay. Where you were dreaming of this life coaching business and wanting to make an impact, doing what you love, making an income that meets your financial needs and dreams. And I want you to imagine just for a moment that you have this schedule full of clients. Now, when I say schedule full of clients, if you know my story, you know that I made $115,000 in 10 months working one on one 10 hours per week with 10 clients per week. I did other things that I wasn't just working 10 hours, but I had 10 clients. That is absolutely possible for you. So I want you to imagine that you have woken up and you have this schedule full of clients, which can really be 2 per day, or you can stack them, 4 on a Tuesday, 4 on a Thursday, and 2 on a Wednesday. However, you decide to create your schedule for what you want in your life. Okay, you have the ability to do that. You have been uniquely gifted, you have been uniquely created. And I don't want you to lose sight of that. I want you to picture this. Okay, I can see you now, right? You've just gotten everyone out the door. You're sitting down to work on your business during its scheduled time. As you sit down, you realize after all this time, and all of these other things that you tried, you're finally doing what you love without hustle, without hype, without sacrificing time with your family. And you have this like flashback, right? Remembering all you have done to get there. So you're in the middle right now. And all the risks that you have taken on yourself and your dreams. And huge tears well up in your eyes. You did it. You're doing it. And you'll continue to. And the best part, others are being transformed by this huge passion and this big dream of yours. That's the picture that you want to see, right? Me too. And so if you've lost sight of that, if you're wondering, how do I get back in the game? I want you to remember. I want you to remember, who are those women, or maybe you work with men, and how can you do something today to show up and serve them? When I'm feeling like out of the game, the best way and the first way that I get back into the game is not to focus on getting new clients. It's not to focus on selling or marketing the academy. It's to serve the clients I currently have, create something new for them, show up and encourage them, come up with a concept for them. I'm doing that right now for the ladies in the academy who have already paid me. They've paid me for what's already there, but I want to show up in over service to them because my desire is that each of them cross their own personal finish line. And so if that's you today, if you're like, oh my goodness, I've either got to get in the game or get back in the game. I want to fulfill this dream. I want to commit to this dream. I want to re-dream because you've lost sight of it. If you're not in the academy, I want to let you know that the doors are currently open. I opened them earlier than I had anticipated, because we're also having our first in-person business retreat together, October 17th to the 19th. Actually, I'm not positive. I think those are the dates. I don't have it in front of me. It don't matter, but it's sometime around there. And in order for you to be able to attend with us, which I hope you can, I do 100% believe this is going to be the catalyst for businesses in 2023 for Christian life coaches who attend. It's definitely going to be the catalyst for quarter one and finishing quarter four strong. So I want you to make plans to be there if you are in the academy and you have yet to sign up. But if you're not in the academy, I want you to take advantage of this open enrollment time so that you can not just imagine or envision that picture that I just painted for you, but that you can actually step into it. Okay. The Christian Life Coach Academy is a 12-month business coaching program for Christian life coaches. Now, what this means to you is that you have a roadmap for an entire year in your life coaching business. Now, the real value to you, though, is having a skill set to keep it all simple so you're not sacrificing the ones you love most to create this business of your dreams. In fact, just this morning, or actually it was yesterday morning or yesterday evening, I can't remember, but a former client of mine who has joined the academy had watched some of the videos in there, and she was like, I cannot tell you how unbelievable these teachings are. She went on to say that all of the content is exactly what she has been looking for in a faith-based business coaching atmosphere. So if that is what you want, if you want the teaching and the coaching and the tools and the skills for both life and business to actually create that picture that I just shared, the one where you have a full client load, where you're waking up and your schedule's the way you desire for it to be, and you're not hustling and you're not sacrificing your family, and you're doing what you love and what you've been created to do, and you have accomplished that goal of yours. You've done it, you're doing it, and you're going to continue to. Once you learn how, and it's what I teach, you just keep repeating the process, keep repeating the process. So if that is, in fact, what you want for yourself, for your family, for your financial needs and desires, but most importantly, because it doesn't happen without this, the passion that you have to help others to come to fruition, then I encourage you to join the academy. When you enroll, you get immediate access to everything right then and there, and then show up Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern and be coached live. Or you have access to me for personalized coaching throughout the week in the private, exclusive, and literally the best community on the planet. Like, I could not have, like, it's like totally what the Lord created. I'll be honest. The most precious people in the Facebook group. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you slash you'll hear me next week. Bye.